Happy Monday, everyone. Today we are talking about what to do if you are hiring coaches and you want to have coaches work inside of your program and the people just want to work with you. A lot of our clients who come out of the 10K online success system go on to then hire coaches or client concierges to help them scale and grow their programs, because that's the way that you have to do it. You know, when you get to a place where you're enrolling 10, 15, 20, 25 clients a month and your program is 3 or 4 months long and you're working with 100 people in any given sort of time, you need support and you need to be able to count on other people to support your clients. Maybe you need support in an area that you don't have expertise in, right? And you need help with that. So that is what we are talking about today. How do you handle that when people say, but I want to work with you, not your coach? Because that's a common thing that happens, whether that's your mindset or the reality of people saying, but like, I signed up to work with you, not someone else. Totally. Do you want to talk a little bit about how to set the stage from the start?
Yes.
So
that's the key thing, right? It's by the time you get that question, it's almost too late. And it's a warning sign that you haven't set it up from the beginning to have the expectation that, of course, they will be working with your team. And of course, they will be best supported through that methodology. And I think that comes down to, what we teach over and over and over again. It's having the signature program, having the methodology that is bigger than you, right? People are working through your signature process that you have designed that leads from problem to transformation through your set series of steps and actions to get the result that they want, right? And so when you set it up from the beginning, that this is the system that is going to get them the results. It's not you who's getting them the results. You are the face. You are the person who created the system. The system is based entirely on your experiences and your expertise and like all of those good things, but it's the system that gets them the results. And to get them the best possible results as you grow, part of that system is having a team of highly trained coaches who know the system inside and out and are there to support them through every step of the journey. Yeah. Does that make sense?
It does. And I think it's this idea too. It's a really big mindset shift. It's a really big mindset shift in the sense of when you first start, you operate under the assumption that people are buying your time, right? Yes. They're wanting to work with you and they're buying 60 minutes of your time.
Yes.
They're buying you. They're, you're working with them as a service provider in a one-to-one capacity. And if you don't work with them personally and give them your time and overextend yourself, then they won't get their money's worth and then they won't be able to get results. And that's sort of the mindset when you're first starting. And then you go and you transition into working with a signature program, an online program where you take what you were doing in those one-off one-to-one sessions and you put it into this very sort of sequential method where it's like module 1, module 2, and the people that you work with go through this program, very sequentially and one at a time, where they're now enrolling. The language even changes from work with me to enroll into the program that is an entity outside of yourself.
Yep.
And that takes a lot of the burden off of you, even just from like a, responsibility perspective. You still feel very responsible, but there's a big shift that comes when somebody stops buying your time.
Yes, totally.
Right? You are not beholden to them in the same way when somebody enrolls into a program that you created. It's very different. It's an entity outside of yourself. And so that's the first really big shift that happens, is you go from selling your time, being beholden to the clients or the patients because they're buying your time, literally like they own your time, to really growing and saying, okay, like I'm going to enroll you into this program outside of myself, where you're going to then get access to all of the different elements, which may or may not include A, B, C, D, and E.
Yep.
And there's a shift. And so when you shift away from your time towards this entity that exists outside of yourself that you did create, you're able to then bring in coaches, because they are there to facilitate this program that you created, that they use the method to get you results, where you shift away from this idea and this codependency that you are the only person that can get them results, to taking what you know and what you do and creating a very structured and systematized way to get people results. And in order to get people results, they need a certain level of support, which of course you're going to have a coaching team provide. And you can equate it to like any type of sport. There's not just one coach. There's a forward coach, there's a goalie coach, there's a defensive coach, there's the main coach, there's the assistant coach, there's the trainer. Like there's all of these different people who have expertise in their own given area so that they can get the team, the client, the patient as a whole, the results.
Yeah. And I think the key differentiator here too is you're not trading selling your own time for selling somebody else's time. That's not the differentiator. And I feel like that's maybe where it starts to feel like of course they're only going to want you. Of course they want you to be the one to provide the transformation. You're still providing the transformation. If somebody's enrolling with you in your system, in your business to get the results that you promise, they are still working with you. And that's the mindset you have to remember. The additional coach is there to help facilitate your transformational result, your program, your time, right? They're not there to be the person instead of you. They're the person in addition to you because they're using your brain. It's your methodology, right? They're just facilitating.
And the other thing is by giving them influence and power. And lending your influence to them from the very start. So one of the things that happens inside of the 10K online success system, for which we now have an 11-person coaching team, and all of the people involved, they get introduced as the expert coaches. They have expertise, and that expertise becomes the star of the show. Right? It becomes the star of the show. And that's just how it's positioned from the start. It's positioned from the start that you are enrolling into X program created by Lori Kennedy or whoever. And that when you come into the program, you're going to get access to these elements that are supported by these coaches. That is how it's positioned, which is a complete 180 away from work with me by 60 minutes of my time. And so when you say, it's my program and you're going to work with me, but I have to like get another coach to do this, that doesn't have the same level of authority or feeling or confidence. And so it is a shift. It is a massive shift when you go from selling your time and working one-on-one where you are beholden, because that's literally what it is. To a person where you operate under the false assumption that unless they work with you, they won't get the results. That you can't possibly train anybody, that nobody's going to be as good as you, that you're never going to find somebody, and you keep this container of it has to be me, 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 me.
And it's really interesting because bringing in coaches when you are at that point, it's actually in the best interest of the clients and in your best interest. You can't accomplish on your own what a team can accomplish. Like if we take it to the Super Bowl that happened yesterday, which I know about because I don't even really know why I know, but the Super Bowl happened and Tom Brady led the team to another victory, his 7th ring overall. Tom Brady's the face of whatever team he's with. He comes up with the plan. He's the one running the show, but he couldn't have won the Super Bowl without his team, right? They all contribute their own pieces. And that's the way like our coaching team operates. Everybody contributes a piece that makes the team so much better than one person alone could ever be.
And this is, so if we go back to how, because the question really was, how do you handle clients who want to work with you and not your staff? And just that word in and of itself, they're not your staff. It is the program team.
Yep.
So at certain points in the program, they're going to get access to this coach. And at certain points in the program, they're not your like minions.
Yes.
Right? They're not the minions. They are the program team. They're not your staff. And it's that mindset of, oh, well, she's my coach. No, she's not my coach.
Yep.
She's one of the expert coaches that facilitates X program.
Yes.
Where you have to make sure that the language that you're using
so important
puts everyone on an even playing field.
So important.
From the very beginning, from the minute, like you will never my coaches, they're the 10K coaches. They're not my coach, right?
Yeah.
They're the 10K coaches. They're the coaches they're the expert coaches.
Yep.
Right? Because if I speak like that, if I say, oh, my coaches who help me.
Yep. They're not assistants. That's not their job.
They're not my they're not my assistants. That lowers their authority. Yeah. And of course then, well, why would somebody want to work with them if I am the one, putting them down, so to speak.
Yep.
Right. And so I've hired a great associate doc, but lots of my people won't see her. Well, of course not. Right. And so you have to give them credibility from the start, talking about that your colleague, not your associate doc, your colleague, the team of naturopaths, the team of professionals, this is part of the team, and we're going to book you in with a team member, or we're going to book you in, with one of the trained experts to facilitate the method.
Yep.
Right. Where it's like, well, of course I wouldn't want to see the second tier person.
No, nobody does.
Right. Like it's nobody wants to see the second tier person. So it's really about reframing it based on the delivery of the transformation using the method. So when you're building out, let's say, a clinical team or a coaching team, this is the program, these are the methods, and this is the team that's going to facilitate your transformation.
Yeah.
And there's no difference between working with me or working with anyone else, because we're all following the same principles and the same method.
Yeah, that's it. Like, it's funny. If you switch your mindset, it doesn't have to be complicated, and you likely won't even get any pushback, comments, or concerns, because it will be framed properly from the beginning, and they'll be excited to work with your team. They'll see it as a perk. Like, wow, not only do I get to come in and work with you in this method, there's a team that's going to help me.
Yeah, it's that's value add.
Yeah.
It's a total value add. So I would definitely look at the language that you're using and the way that it is communicated from the start as to how you are representing these people and how they are representing themselves.
Totally.
And then you shouldn't have an issue. And, one of the friends, colleagues, clients that we work with, she was talking at some point about upping her prices because there's an element of her program that they work individually one-on-one.
Yep.
And as soon as she said that, both Laura and I were like, don't do that, because then you are further elevating yourself above everybody else. So to work with you, it's X thousands of dollars, but to work with everybody else, it's hundreds.
Yep.
Well, again, if we go back to the psychology of people, they want the best, they want the expert. People
Yes.
are willing to pay.
Yes, they
for
sure
it.
are.
Right, your mindset, they're willing to pay. And so I said, if you put your price up because you don't want as many clients, you're going to create more of a demand for yourself because it's going to seem exclusive.
Yep.
And then people won't feel as good working with the people who were only charging hundreds. I would just put everybody on an even playing field and limit the amount of open availability that you have.
Yep.
So that the appointments are forced to flow to your colleagues who facilitate the program alongside you. Because if you make your, like, which I'm not going to, so nobody get excited, but if I decided to offer one-on-one coaching, I would be able to fill that way faster. And even if I doubled the price of what the 10K online success system is, I wouldn't have an issue selling that, right? And so, but I'm not going to do that. And because we are a coaching team, and the results that I know that we could get are far better with the coaching team than they would be with just working with me alone.
Yeah.
And so it comes down to positioning from the start and really thinking about how you're going to communicate the team that facilitates transformation. So it's just something to think about. It's such a different shift than being like, buy my time. I'm the expert and I have these associates that help me out.
And it's funny because it all comes back to that mindset shift of trading time for money to providing a transformation, right? Once you make that initial shift, which is what we want you to make so badly if you haven't, everything else is added on from that point, and it's just so much easier.
So much easier. So yeah, exactly. It's about leading the ship, and it's also intentionality.
Yeah.
It's intentionality. It is moving from a one woman or a one man show and having this very singular, very like the world revolves around me mindset to, I want to grow and scale this, and I need a team to be able to do it. And so now it's about repositioning yourself as the leader and the visionary and the creator of X method that you and the team, not my team, the team, you and the team work together to deliver transformation. And when you enroll in X program, you get access to the coaching team.
Yes.
And you then become sort of the face. Yeah. And that's how you change people's perception of working with you versus not wanting to work with the associates.
Totally.
So we hope that helps. Have a happy Monday, and we'll talk to you again soon. Bye.
Bye.